Hey there, sequel lovers. Doug here. This week we're taking a week off. Unfortunately, my father-in-law passed away, so it was just impossible for me and Jamie to get together this week to do the next review, our Sinbad: The Golden Voyage. I'll make sure I put the title in the episode notes. So me and Jamie were texting back and forth. We were thinking of an oldie but goodie from the beginning, way before we were doing video, way before when I think we were still using Zoom at this point. So, and Jamie picked a really cool one. He gave me 3 options, and as soon as I saw Meatballs 3, I said, oh man, you know what? There's so many listeners that we have that we gained over the last 4.5, almost 5 years that probably weren't there from the beginning, which is understandable. You didn't know us yet. You didn't see, Jamie's charming smile and be like, yeah, I'm hooked. I'm in. But Meatballs 3 has a moment in this that's our gold, where we have like one of those aha moments that we've had so many times doing this podcast. So, yeah, this is going to be a new episode for most of you, I bet. So, you'll learn why I love Mean Gene, and I'll make sure I put the interview with George Buza in the episode notes, the link to it, because if you like Mean Gene, you'll love George's story about that. So I'll put that in there as well so you can check that out. And we'll be back next week. It'll be Sinbad and the Golden Voyage. I'll put the name in the episode notes just in case as I record this at 1 in the morning. I know it's something Golden Voyage. You'll figure it out. It's a Sinbad with the golden word in it. Not too hard. And then pretty soon around the corner, Halloween and horror. And with the strike, we're going to be picking some really funky horror movies. You have a really cool interview lined up that's going to be so rad. It's going to give me an opportunity to cover one of my favorite sequels of all time. I don't want to say it out loud because I don't want to spoil it. So without further ado, here is a few things: our Meatballs 3 review, our old theme song when I was using the good, the bad, and the ugly theme, which it was cool. Really liked it. And my buddy who used to do like DJ drops, he did the intro. But then I was like, you know what, down the road, I want to make sure that we have an opportunity for advertising. And you can't use somebody else's song for it, but you get to hear it right now. So, thank you. Do me a favor. Please subscribe wherever you're listening. Follow us on all social media at Sequels Only. And we do have a website, sequelsonly.com. I usually say it at the end, and I think I might have said it then. I don't even know if we had a website at this point. This is how long ago this episode's from. So I'll shut my yapper. Enjoy Meatballs 3.
Welcome to the good, the bad, and the sequel with your hosts, Doug and Jamie.
So we are back again, and this is the movie podcast where we're talking sequels, and we do it in 2 parts. The first, a discussion of the sequel, what they got right, what they got wrong, and how it could have been better. And the second, an interview with an actor or someone that was involved in the film that made it worth watching. Really hope you enjoyed last week's interview, because I know I did. But before we dive into this week's movie, I have to introduce you to my partner on the sequel watching carpet ride, Jamie Riccardi. Jamie, how are you?
Good, Doug. How you doing?
Pretty good. I'm very excited to talk about this week's movie. I must say, this is the first movie that I really had no idea that even existed. We did Son of the Mask. I've heard of it. I've never seen it. I've seen, obviously, clips of it. But this movie, I didn't even know it existed.
I think I might have seen it years ago. This came out at a time when I was still watching movies, as a young kid. I remember seeing the first one. I believe I saw the second one. And I think I did see this one, but I vaguely remember it. But yeah, this is a doozy.
Do you want to introduce it? Let everybody know what the movie is?
Yeah, Meatballs 3. It's definitely a total 80s movie, but it was enjoyable. I actually did enjoy this movie.
Yeah, I remember the first one. So obviously it was like a very early Bill Murray vehicle. He was the camp counselor, that tripper. He was like the coolest guy, and it was just, again, typical summer camp movie. But right off the bat with this one, let's dive right into it. This isn't really, I understand it's called Meatballs 3, but it's really not at a summer camp.
Well, so first of all, the camp is owned now. Supposedly, it was owned by Bill Murray.
Yeah,
who was just a counselor. So I don't know how he somehow ended up owning the camp, and he wasn't even in Meatballs 2. So somehow he owned at the end of Meatballs 1, he was just the main counselor. He owns the camp in Meatballs 2, which is not even in the movie, and then he sells it in Meatball 3, which I don't even mention. So yes, it's not even a camp. It's not even Meatballs because Meatballs was the camp. So again, it's not really a sequel. That's I got to be honest.
Yeah, and the only part he has in it too is a letter, and when he receives the letter, when Patrick Dempsey, who's like his first movie, when he's reading the letter, at first I'm like, man, maybe they paid Bill Murray a ton of movie because he was already like a huge star by this point.
Yep.
And I was thinking, man, maybe they paid him a bunch of money to actually like do a voiceover. No, it's just Patrick Dempsey reading the letter.
The next year he made what's the movie with the money? Can't Buy Me Love. So this is his first movie. So they found him from this movie. So this is his first starring role.
Yeah, and this movie was filmed way before. So I interviewed George Buza, who plays Mean Gene, who we'll get a lot into him. But yeah, I interviewed him, and he said they filmed this movie in the summer of '82. This movie didn't come out until '86. They had to get distribution for it. But so yeah, the movie starts. School's over. School's getting let out, and it's not like there's any children in this movie, so it's not even really a summer camp. It's like the summer bar, like we mentioned before. But before we get started, what year do you think this movie takes place?
It's got to be, I would say, 84.
Okay, why is every car from 1955 and the waitresses look like they're from 1955? It reminds me of the movie The Blob. They're wearing like the pink tops, the white, and the way they're talking. Everybody else, obviously, in the diner.
Yep.
Looks like they're from the 80s, but no, not everyone else. Not the cars, not the waitresses.
And not for nothing. I mean, we both graduated high school, or even, at the end of the year, you're leaving school. Have you ever walked out throwing paper up in the air? Like they did that in every 80s movie. As soon as school's over, you see all the students throwing their notebooks and paper in the air and leaving. I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah, I think they want to do the burning bras, but this is more just like, screw you, school. We're gonna throw your paper up in the air. And I love that, just to show Patrick Dempsey how he's such a nerd and to show you that he's a virgin. He's reading Portable Computer Magazine.
How old do you think he was in this movie? Because I mean,
you know what? I'm guessing he must have been like 18, 19.
Okay, so the people that he went to school with, they all look like they're in their late 20s.
Oh, I know.
Like they all look so old.
The bullies, the bullies definitely look so much older. But here are some of the lines that he had. He said, again, this is what's so bad about this. So the first two lines he says, he's actually saying it on camera. Hey, gorgeous, how about a light snack in the sack? And then he says, hey, Fox, want to get lewd in the nude? And then, so the next pickup line he says, his lips aren't moving. So they must have done it either on another take or in the studio. But I forgot what he said. Oh, yeah, he goes, if I go off for war tomorrow, this could be my last night alive. How about giving me something to fight for?
Yeah, he was a total tool. I mean, he really was. And, you mentioned the bullies. Is it me, or does every bully in the 80s have blonde hair?
They have to. I think it's standard issue.
But I would think like bullies would have like black hair. Blonde hair is kind of like wimpy. Like, I mean, like I just don't like, I don't know, like, but every movie has that, So I mean, but yeah, so yeah, you meet the bullies also that somehow later end up in the same camp that you're at.
And then how about a lot of horror movies. I remember seeing a horror movie. I don't know if anybody listening or if you ever seen it. It's called Slaughter High, and they like kind of picked on Patrick Dempsey. The way they picked out the killer in Slaughter High, they like bullied him. Same thing with this. Like, this could have been a horror movie. This could be the beginning of a horror movie. This hot blonde sits next to him and says, hey, my parents are out of town, starts touching him and gives him a boner. And then the preppy blondes come over and they basically have a timer. He's using a stopwatch and they're actually betting on how quick he would get a boner.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? You're right. This is Carrie. This has the making of a horror movie, a revenge horror movie right off the bat, and that's like the direction I thought. Honestly, I thought there's going to be some kind of like revenge going after that. But yeah, I mean, first of all, it's kind of a sick bet, to be honest with you.
Oh no, it's disgusting. And then everyone in the diner but him is in on this joke.
Yeah,
it's like almost like it's like a hidden camera show. But wouldn't those guys have gotten a boner? No,
yeah.
I think most people would have. But
yeah.
But yeah, and then the best is when he's trying to like run out of there, and the one girl bumps him, and he's reading the magazine. Oh man, what was the name of it? I had it written down. It was called like How to Pick Up Chicks or How to Rev Their Engine. It was like something like that. How to Get Girls in the Set. It was something so. Oh man, it was so corny.
Well, I think that whole scene just gives you an idea what the rest of the movie is going to be about. You know, he's a loser who's just trying to pick up girls. You know, and the whole movie becomes your typical teen sex romp. Is really what it is.
Here's the name of the book, and I wish they had this book when I was in high school. It was called How to Pick Up Tons of Horny Girls. How did the publisher let that get out there? And you know what? With this movie, if you noticed it, you know, if anybody wants to watch, you got to see this movie. It's on YouTube. You can watch it for free. And the one thing that I had an issue with, and I don't know if you noticed it, was definitely the editing and just like the title screen. So usually when a movie comes up, it's like this big thing, maybe a crawl of like the name of the movie coming up or a black screen, boom.
Right.
You see the name? This one, it was like in the middle of a girl walking across the street and it like froze frame her like middle of the step and it just like went over her and it just, I don't know, just like shit.
Is this the last one of the series?
No, number 4 is with Corey Feldman.
Oh, okay. All right, so I thought maybe they might have given up. They're like, all right, you know, we got a third movie here. Let's just, you know, put together something because again, like you said, it has nothing to do with the first movie. So, you know, they could have named this anything else. They could have called it Teenage Sex Romp or whatever. Again, it's nothing to do with the movie. But yeah, and his plan, I guess, is going to work for the summer for the first time, and he's never worked there before, right? It's a camp or like what? So how do you describe where he's working?
I would say it's like one of those, I don't know, like those things they have nowadays, like adult getaway camps, like where you just go and It was like a Myrtle Beach-ish, but it was just on a
like a resort, like a camp resort kind of thing. And you know, did you see what his suitcase was? It was like a baseball bag.
Yeah, and his mom like tried to kiss him when he was on the bus. He was super creepy. The girl came onto the bus, and he like moved over and like did this weird eye thing to her, and she was like, "I'm gonna sit with anybody but you."
Well, you know, I mean, you know, he's obviously been a loser most of his life. I don't know how he thinks that any of these girls are going to look at him, and he keeps trying. I mean, I give him a lot of credit. He keeps trying. He doesn't give up. He's relentless.
But we'll get into how he's trying, but he screws up a lot. So I have a lot of notes. I have a whole checklist that I made of how much he screws up. So he gets to this camp that he thinks owned by Tripper. I don't know how he knows Tripper.
Right.
He just says Tripper gave me a job, so he wasn't in the other movies, so there's really no connection. But he sold it to, I think, my favorite character I've ever seen in a movie. And it made it so much better that I didn't watch a trailer for this. But Mean Gene is probably the coolest person ever in a movie. How badass he is. Throwing people through a roof just because they're looking at at this time in the movie, his main squeeze, Shannon Tweed, Gene Simmons' wife.
You know, he reminded me of Bluto from Popeye.
Yeah?
From Popeye, he was Bluto from Popeye. And if you ever seen the movie with Robin Williams, he was totally Bluto with Popeye. I mean, he was just angry. He would throw you out the windows if he didn't like you, or if you look at him the wrong way, he would just, you know, he was an animal. And he was hysterical. To me, without him, the movie isn't as good.
Definitely.
And he makes the scenes that he was in perfect. I mean, he was great.
He crushes it every time. So I'm going to play a clip right now so you can hear what Mean Gene sounds like.
Hey, trail turd. You staring down my main squeeze?
No. I was admiring the sky. Isn't that a cluster of cirrocumulus clouds up there?
Look, fairy fart. I don't give a rat's ass about your wimp weather reports. Now spit out your name and your game so I can decide if I should waste you.
All right, so this place looks so much fun. So Mean Gene has a great establishment because 20-year-old Doug would have loved hanging out at this place.
Oh, absolutely.
It seemed like everybody was just dancing. And it wasn't even a band playing. It was just people were dancing at the bars, in the water. No matter what, they were having a great time. But Patrick Dempsey goes to a summer camp. He's wearing long khakis and those dorky glasses.
And what was his job there?
Gas station attendant, mop guy.
I was saying, he's mopping. He was mopping the deck. He was mopping like the boardwalk area thing. Like he was like the do everything guy. And where did he live? Like a little shack.
Yeah, that's where he was able to live. And you know what? So the first interaction we have with a girl that he meets in this movie, a girl he actually knows, which we don't know. I guess he knows her from school.
Right.
Like everybody at the summer camp is from school. But Wendy.
I have such a problem with this because she gives him so much attention.
I know.
And he keeps blowing her up. Now, this is the story of a guy who's trying to get laid. And she's not ugly, and she's giving him all the attention, like, to really, and he's, like, blowing her off. Like, he's too good for her.
Yeah, they didn't do the old, like, she had glasses on, or she did dress a little, but she dressed 80s. Like, when this movie came out, the punk scene was big. So there were some scenes, like some scenes she looked normal, and then the next one, her hair was a different color. Like, I don't know what that was, but no.
Well, she was quirky. She was definitely quirky. She didn't care about, she liked her own style. She stood up to the bullies. Like, she was, but he, like, paid her no mind. And, like, to me, if you're a virgin like him, and regardless of what you look, you have a girl who's willing to be with you, and he just no mind. He didn't care at all.
I know. I have to agree. Definitely. She had some great comebacks, and he would just stand there with and he would, like, smile afterwards when, she stood up for him.
Yeah.
So then she's like, why don't you come over to my place? My parents are going to be out. They're going to be out. So let's come over and hang out. So you're like, oh, all right, this movie could be over. We know that he wants to get laid. No, he goes over there to watch porn.
Yep.
What is that?
He's a weirdo. He's definitely a weirdo. I mean,
and she clearly wants him. She tries to kiss him, and he's like, wait, no, I got to watch this scene. And the name of the porno was Eat Me, the Sextraterrestrial.
I wrote that down. That was unbelievable. So that was more interesting, alien sex, than to have a girl who's really just waiting for you. I mean, like, in a lot of these movies, I feel bad for the loner who gets picked on. I feel bad for him. Everybody makes fun of him. I can't feel that bad for him. I mean, he has a girl here who's, again, he's watching porn. She's right there. She's waiting for him, and he'd rather watch alien sex.
No, I know. And it was ridiculous. So here's a scene that definitely had me rolling. And I had to rewind it and play it over and over again. So we meet the girl that was in the movie, the star of the porno that he was watching was Sally Kellerman, who was a MASH. Roxanne Dujour was her porn name. So as soon as the parents come home, she's like, you got to get out of here. My parents are going to kill me. So she shoves Patrick Dempsey out the window into the wall.
And you know what? Do you know how she got him to the house, by the way?
Oh, food. Right?
So she goes, my parents are not here. Why don't you come over? He's like, no. She's really trying to lure him. And then she goes, well, I got food. And then that's to get them excited. I mean, to just show you what kind of person he is.
Oh my! I know he could have both things. He could have had a meal. He could have got lost his virginity. He could have had it all.
So I'm not sure he understood what he wanted.
Yeah. So when that news report comes on, they talk about dead porn star Roxanne Dujour, and the reporter, in, like, the most straight face ever, he says her last words were, "Oh God, oh God, oh yes, oh yes, oh my God, yes, oh yes."
And I think he said it exactly like that. So you got the way he said it.
So the Roxanne Dujour, we see her, she gets into heaven. And heaven, I don't know if that's the way you think it would look. It looked like, a nice little lobby. The guy was like a doorman.
You got the doorman there? Yep. And I do have a problem with Roxanne. You have an 80s comedy here. You got a young kid who's 18, 19 years old. Your idea of a porn star is someone who's, like, in her 50s. Like, I mean, listen, I think at the time she might, first of all, she sounds like a man. She's definitely deep.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, they couldn't get, like, a younger porn star. Like, I mean, like, they got one that's, like, older. Like,
I think they went with the name. They needed, like, maybe the studio said, you can do this movie, we'll give you the money, but you have to put Sally Kellerman in it. And what's great? Hey, she was down for it. She did the movie.
She was good.
Credits to her name.
Yeah, no, she was good. I mean, this is what she. But I'm looking like he's 19. I think audience-wise, wouldn't you want a younger porn star? I don't know. But then again, she has more experience.
Yeah, so. Yeah. So in the 70s, she's, like, acting across Robert Redford, like, in Oscar-nominated movies, and then this one, she's with Patrick Dempsey. The thing that was really funny, so she gets to heaven, and And the guy's looking at the list and he's like, oh, Roxanne Dujour. Okay, that's the first problem. That's obviously her stage name. Her name's not Roxanne of the Day. Like if a porn star's name's Brittany Peaks, when she gets to heaven, her name's like, Harriet Smith. Like she has a real name. It's not like you go to heaven. It's not like Prince went to heaven. They're like, oh, Prince is here. No, they had his real name. Jeez. And then she has to get sent down. So she has the thing, hey, you got to think of the great movies that have the angels that do the great things they get into heaven, It's a Wonderful Life. Oh, man, you have to do something great. Her job is why does God want him to get laid?
Yeah, this might be maybe porn heaven. There might be a separate heaven. This might not be like the heaven. This might be porn heaven. I think.
This is like floor 1 in heaven's in the penthouse. But yeah, and then how depressed he was as soon as Patrick Dempsey gets out of the water. Everybody's boning. Everyone is having sex.
Yep.
It's wild. And you know what's funny? So when it comes to in heaven, they want him to get laid. All right. But don't like some religions and some, they say like, hey, wait until marriage.
Of course.
But in that sense, they're like, just go down. You need to get this guy laid.
Well, again, that's porn heaven. So porn heaven, you can't get into heaven until you get laid. So, so that's the whole big different, scenario.
I imagine like porn Jesus in like a red robe and a corn cob pipe.
Like, see, that would be funny if Hugh Hefner comes out, and he played God.
Oh my God, dude. That would have been amazing. Jesus. So then Patrick Dempsey doesn't believe that she's, in this tree. Well, wouldn't that be a little bit weird? Unless he was unless he was drunk or on drugs. Like, why was Roxanne Dujour, this porn star he just saw on a movie, hanging in a tree? But when she like sneaks into his apartment, dude, why do we have to see Patrick Dempsey's butt? Was the director like, hey kid, if you want to make it big in this amazing Oscar-worthy movie, Meatballs 3, you gotta show your ass? And I'm like,
that made no sense at all. I really did. It didn't fit in the. I guess they had to show that he was naked and he had to be embarrassed, and she was there. I guess, but they could have easily done that without showing anything. Show him from like the waist up that he just got out of the shower. But you're right. It wasn't like a Van Damme movie.
Yeah. And she touched him a few times, so she was able to, interact with him.
Right.
She could have just had sex with him and got it over with.
Yeah, but that would be too easy. So she had to make sure that someone, again, like every other movie, she has to find someone that's actually going to fall in love with him. That's just so.
So the next we meet the River Rat Gang. The River Rat Gang that just comes in to Mean Gene's establishment, which we later find out Mean Gene is with these guys. But dude, this River Rat Gang just comes in, just ripping their boats. All these patrons that are paying to be at Mean Gene's establishment, he's just dumping them into the water.
Yeah, what's the deal with this gang though? Like, I don't like, they act like tough guys, but like the outfits they wear and like how they act, like I don't like. What kind of gang are they? Like, I mean, did they explain anything about that? Like they're weird, a bunch of weirdos.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of gang documentaries. I never heard of a river gang. But you know what? So I always notice these random actors that are in movies. If you guys go back in Police Academy 6, I noticed, forget the name off the top of my head, but the brother from Breaking Bad.
Yep. The
DEA agent. In this one, did you notice the leader of the River Rat Gang? He was the guy that was in My Cousin Vinny, the guy that was on the stand. And when Joe Pesci was like showing him the picture,
no,
with the dirt, you see the dirt on the window, and then he's like, "You sure about those grits? Are you sure about that 15 minutes?"
That was that guy.
Yeah,
he was the leader of the gang.
He was the leader of the gang. The guy that was like mud or dirt. Yeah, that was that guy. So, yeah.
Oh, I gotta look at it again.
I wasn't around in the 80s. You were young in the 80s.
Thanks.
Were people calling beers suds? We want suds. We want suds.
I think so because I remember growing up, there was actually a strip bar called Suds.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah, and there was a beer and stripper kind of place. So yes, I believe they did call it Suds.
All right.
Not that I would call it Suds, but
yeah, I know. I just found it weird. These tough guys just saying, "I want suds."
Now I don't know if we had it before or after when the bullies surrounded them with the bucket of pee.
Oh, dude, I wrote down, why did the jock preppery think it was a cool prank to pee in a bucket?
Not, yeah. I mean that was kind of weird. I mean, he's not drinking the bucket, so like,
I know.
what's the point of that? But when they threw the bucket, do you realize how yellow that pee was when she threw it? It was like so yellow, like they made it over the top yellow pee. Like it was ridiculous.
Or he was really dehydrated and he should be in a hospital and getting some fluids because that was so disgusting. And then Mean Gene comes out. He goes, "One of my bros tosses cookies and I want the squeeze to get a whiff." And then he yells at him and says, you gotta clean this deck. You gotta get this pee off of here. And every time he crushed every line.
Everything.
I don't know how many lines he had in the movie, but every time he was on there, he like stole the scene.
He stole the scenes, his lines, his look alone. It was scary to look at. Like,
oh, dude, I know.
Like, if you cross this guy, you want to stay as far away from him as possible.
Yeah, and when talking to him, he was the complete opposite. He seemed like the nicest, like most kindest, gentle. He was like a gentle giant. He was like super nice. And now, so we talked about it a little bit in the beginning with Mean Gene tossing people out of the roof, but I think he has a right to do that. It's kind of rapey that they're betting who can sneak into the room and like make it with the goddess. Like she doesn't want it.
Yeah.
Like they think, hey, I'm going to be the one that goes into this room, which again, she lived in like a dungeon. She lived in like a little room. It was almost like Rapunzel. She was in this room. These guys sneak up there. They say, hey, let's have sex. Of course, she's going to say no.
Right.
And then boom, just get tossed out.
There's a few situations in this movie that I'm thinking, like, you know what, the Me Too movement that's going on right now would not be happy.
Yeah.
And that's one of them. So.
Oh, yes. No.
There's another one coming up that
yes.
without a doubt. And yeah, so that's kind of creepy. I mean, and she's kind of like in a dungeon because you never see her outside of the balcony. That's the only spot.
Yeah, I know. I wonder what she does all day.
Yeah.
I don't know if they even mentioned that at the end, but I think you're right. The next part up, Roxanne to help Patrick Dempsey. This is opportunity number 2 that he could have got laid.
Now, is this when she's wearing like a white suit and tie?
Yes.
That was her after? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So Roxanne uses her powers to make the one preppy guy who's dating the blonde that gave him the hard on in the diner. She makes his hands start grabbing girls' asses, just start grabbing them. So then the girl's like, ew. And she's like, come on, grabs Patrick Dempsey and then takes him into the woods. And dude, she's ready to basically blow him, like next to this creek. And then he's like, can't we wait to get to know each other first?
Yeah, I mean, I again, here he's been trying to get laid from the beginning of the movie. You have a girl that wants him. He just wants to watch alien sex and eat food. You have a girl here that's ready to do something, and he's still stalling. So I think he's just nervous, maybe. You know, he talks the big game that he wants everything, but he's not mature enough and he's not ready. But I mean, I don't get it. But is this where Roxanne says no means yes? Or is that the other scene?
No, that's very questionable.
All right, then we'll get to that later on. So,
and you know what? His name's Rudy in this movie. Was Rudy in the first one? Was that the name of the kid in the first one?
No, you know what?
Oh my God, dude. Wait.
That's
wait.
That's mind blowing. You know what? You might be right. The kid that ran the cross country.
Oh my God, dude. Is he the same kid?
No, it's not the same kid. It's definitely not the same kid. I mean,
no. I'm saying, are they pretending it's?
You know what?
No. Oh
yes,
shit,
his name
dude.
Is Rudy.
Whoa.
His name is Rudy.
Holy crap! So wait, Patrick Dempsey is supposed to be Rudy, the kid that ran in the original movie.
Same name. That's crazy.
So that's how he knows. Oh,
that makes sense.
God. Dude, you know what? So we have to take back what we said in the beginning because it does make sense because he would know Tripper. Oh my God, dude!
It would be nice if they explained that a little more. I went to camp there a couple of years ago, and now yeah, it's the same character.
Dude, I'm so mind blown right now. Oh, dude, I had to look up his name. I'm like, oh, you know what? I haven't said his name. I haven't
You know what? That would have been great to ask Mean Gene. Like, is this based on the character from the first movie?
Oh, dude. Mean Gene partied the whole time. He said every time in between takes, he was they had a house. They filmed the movie up in Canada, and he said his house is a party house. it was on the first level, he would take his motorcycle, ride it into the living room.
You know, I'm kind of disappointed in what you said about him, that he's a nice guy and, because I would want him to be the same character that he's in the movie. If he was the same way, like, that would have been awesome. That would have been amazing.
Biting bottles and intimidating people. But yeah, so that he just, dude, I'm still mind blown that that's Rudy. But yeah, so second time he blew his chance of, getting laid. So then we had a nice montage time. He's trying all the outfits. She's using her invisible powers to make the tailor, the barber. Okay, so the barber starts sword fighting with scissors. So she's holding up scissors. He's sword fighting back. Wouldn't he call the cops or talk to the kid like, whoa, there's something wrong with this, right? There's something going on. The optometrist, dude, the freaking glasses are floating in the air.
Yeah, but are they able to see all that or only Rudy?
They only see Rudy, but I'm saying they're still floating objects.
Yeah, but they act like they couldn't see it, right? I mean, or
no, they could see it because the guy was sword fighting with scissors in the air. It was wild. There were scissors in the air, and I think she wanted to cut the hair a certain way, so the scissors were coming, and he was sword fighting.
Totally forgot about that scene. Oh yeah, you're right.
And then they're walking down the street right after that when he's acting really kind of.
Yeah.
They walk into some abandoned bar, and then she's carrying the bags. The bags are floating down the street. Accidents happen. People get injured, and then that is where I believe she starts talking about no means yes.
Yes. Okay. No, I totally forgot about that. And I forgot that, when you put on certain clothes, your attitude automatically changes.
Oh, dude, he was a dick.
A complete dick. And that's, all you need is to change of clothes and your personality is totally different. So, yes. And this is exactly where she says, no means yes.
Yeah. I wrote down the full line. When she says no, she really means yes.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that line would work today. I think that's a pretty tough line. I guess the 80s, you can say whatever you want.
Yeah, and I feel like if that was coming from, so say if the ghost was the ghost of, I don't know, John Holmes, like a male porn star, maybe a male cocky guy saying that, hey, when she says no, it means that yes. This coming from a woman, women should be looking out for women, not
Yeah, I was totally taken back by that.
Why does he go to Wendy's house? Just to hey, I'm not going to be able to hang out with you, and just leaves.
He's a douche. He's a complete, like I said, you want to feel bad for him because he's such a loser and he gets picked on, but you can't. He's a douche. He really is, and yeah, I mean, I think, I was a fan of Wendy and,
oh no, totally. Right from the jump, I was like, dude,
she defended him. She stuck up for him. She stood up for the bullies. She did everything he should be doing.
Yeah.
For her, and he didn't.
Yeah. No, totally. And the thing that was wild. So when he goes into the bar, people are responding. People are really responding to him.
Yeah.
And then the preppy guy goes, hey, you. And then Roxanne helps him, kick the guy's ass in the bar. And then it comes to his third chance to get laid. The blonde girl again is going to give him another chance. But no, he chooses the lady.
Who looks like she has a mullet.
Oh, I know.
Looks like a man. Of all the people in the bar, that's what catches his attention. I don't understand him. Again, you have Wendy, you have this other girl in the woods that wants to be with him. This is what it picks. The woman that looks like a guy.
She was dancing like she was having a stroke, and she had an extremely deep voice. She was probably 35, old enough to be his mom.
And had the mullet.
Yeah. So this is number fourth chance he has. He starts making out with her near a tree. Roxanne uses her snap technique. Yep. Everything freezes. And then she's like, hey, you sure about this, girl? And then he's like, come on, just get out of here. And then goes back in. She starts saying no. He thinks it means yes. And then she knees him in the dick.
Yeah. Yeah. Roxanne really hasn't really helped much. I mean, she first of all, if she has power to freeze everybody like that, she doesn't have power to help him a little better the way she's doing.
A love potion, a trance onto one of these girls. Yeah, I know. So right away he's down again. He's like, oh, I took your advice, didn't work. And then Roxanne's like, hey, you know what? Sometimes no really does mean no, I guess. Just whatever. So then the snack stand lady is old. All right. She's probably in her 40s. She wants to bone. She wants to have sex with him right in front of it, right on the deck where you think a lot of people are going to come around.
Yep.
And then Roxanne's like, no, you can't do it because she's old. She was going to allow the biker lady.
Honestly, I think part of Roxanne, I think she started liking him. Like she was almost getting jealous. I think she was getting jealous a lot of times of like the women. Like she was kind of cock blocking a few times. I think too. I think there was like
she definitely was, but she was turning down her chance to get it over with and go into heaven.
Yeah.
So Mean Gene, we see him again, and he takes Patrick Dempsey on a boat ride.
Now, is this where he's wearing the shirt that's like ripped all over the place? Like,
yeah. So he takes him on this boat ride, and he takes him halfway, and he makes him swim back. And when I talked to him about that, he said the boat would go like 120, and he would rip it. So that girlfriend that he had that worked at the snack stand in the movie, he would he liked going so fast they actually get a stunt double, a girl that looked like her, to ride on the boat with him because he loved taking it as fast as he could. But yeah, so then Patrick Dempsey, he comes back. The girl that he gets handsy with the night before tells her biker friends, and they're ready to pound him. Roxanne again saves the day, comes up. So now random girl that he was talking to that just got into town, number five Chance gets turned on by that.
And she was the best looking one out of all of them, I think. She was cute.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
So a guy assaults two guys, gets to a bar, and this girl says, "Oh, man, I want you right now." I feel like if I was at a bar and a girl looked at me, it was kind of like into me when I was younger and single, and she beat the shit out of two girls, I don't know if I would want to go outside with her. She was violent. I'd probably run.
Absolutely. Yeah. It didn't make sense.
Again, I just said it before. Roxanne doesn't want to go to heaven. I know you feel like she's kind of into him. I can agree with that. But she was going to attempt to drown Patrick Dempsey and the girl. And I think it was a Volkswagen Bug.
Yeah.
At least it looked like it, yeah. She pops it into neutral while they're hooking up in the back seat. And they start floating on the water. And then she's like, "Oh, yeah." He's like, "I think we should do this another night."
Very nonchalantly, too. Like, they didn't seem that nervous. They're like, "All right, let's just get out." And she gets out, opens the door, and she swims back. So weird. But yeah, I think Roxanne was like starting to get jealous. She started, her plan was to get him laid. He has a chance to do that now. And this girl wasn't good enough for him. So now it's not like a matter of him falling in love. It's a matter of him getting laid. That's the whole point. So yeah, she's confused at this point, I think. And I think she's ruining her chances to go to heaven. Again, porn heaven.
Porn heaven. And that's a perfect segue for the next scene, the wet t-shirt contest.
Yep.
And that was just insane. So they have probably like 5 or 6 girls up there. The guy that was in the leader of the River Rat gang, he was the honorary, Mean Gene donned him the honorary judge. He was so excited just to be able to pour those pitchers of water. And it's like all the girls, typical 80s looking girls. And then this one girl walks in and dude, they look so fake. It was like not even like it was a boob job. It was like she was wearing like a prosthetic, like, oh yeah, balloons.
I thought she was wearing balloons. I thought it was like a joke, and I thought she was wearing balloons. I didn't realize like that's really her. Like,
yeah. And then Roxanne was like, "You know what? Because when the girl walks outside after she wins, and I think what was it? The girl didn't have her glasses, or she was
new contacts, I think, or something.
New contacts, yeah. So then she starts walking, and Patrick Dempsey's like, "Oh, va voom," and then Roxanne's like, "Oh, you guys are still the same." And then to help Patrick Dempsey out, she makes the woman fall into the water.
Yeah.
So if Patrick Dempsey wasn't a good swimmer, or maybe the lead hit her, she hit her head, Roxanne could have killed that woman.
Now, was Roxanne trying to help him or trying to get the woman out of it? Again, jealousy jumps in there.
Yeah.
And maybe she's trying to kill her. Like, listen, maybe she'll drown and another one I can get rid of. I mean, she totally, cock blocks him. But the fact that she said all guys are the same, that's the whole point. He's trying to get laid. That's what he's trying to do. So I think there's a whole angle to this. I think Roxanne has been trying to sabotage the whole situation.
Yeah, and this is girl number 6. And then he takes her back into the woods, and they're in, it looked like an abandoned shed.
Yeah.
There's so much slats missing. They're hooking up on the ground. She does the freeze thing again. She's like, "Oh, are you sure you want this?" Roxanne's like, "Oh, do you want this?" And then that's where I have in my notes. Now I think she wants to bone him. So
Roxanne,
at this point, at this point in my notes, I agree with you 100%. She wants to bone him, and then unfreezes it, and the girl's going to grab, and I forget, has he kept this there since the 2 days before, the salami in his pants?
He did. So, so he went to sleep with it, and he left it in there for, I guess he feels like he just needs it there all the time. So first of all, imagine the smell that's coming out of there. How did no one notice that he's like, smelling, the whole time?
And did he shower?
He probably hasn't showered because, it's funny. I wrote this down, and I couldn't remember why, and you just reminded me. Because all I wrote down was salami dick, which was the next line, the next scene. So, yes. So she finds the salami.
Yeah. And then all the preppy guys rip on him when they see him, because that girl obviously comes back and has to tell everyone. You have one of those experiences, so-and-so stuffs her bra. Is that like she really had to go back? It was embarrassing enough for the guy. She really had to go tell all these strangers that she probably barely knew, like, hey, this guy put a salami in his pants.
Well, I mean, if you're hooking up with a girl and you find that she has cupcakes in her bra, you're not gonna tell anybody, because that's kind of bizarre. I mean, it's not like it's. I think it's more than an embarrassing situation. I mean, it'd be one thing if you put socks down there, you put salami. I mean, that's a little different. It's a little bizarre.
And that's like probably scary. That's a pretty big salami. She was probably like, whoa.
Well, I don't remember. Did she feel like maybe she grabbed it and ripped it off? Like, because I mean,
that would be even better if she was like, "Oh my god, I
broke it."
Yeah. No, she knew right away. She's probably fallen for the salami trick once or twice in her life. She's like, "Nope, fool me twice with the salami. Shame on me."
So that's when they see him the next day. That's where they call him salami dick.
Yes. So then the whole Mean Gene going away storyline shows how dumb these preppy guys are. So they wanted to make sure that they won a lot of money, because they would bet on how long people can stay in with the love goddess. Because Mean Gene obviously would just toss them right out the window, through the roof, like as soon as it would happen. So the preppies got the inside tip that Mean Gene was going away, so they were going to make a bunch of money. So they ordered Joe Adonis, a stud, but not in the hunky guy, but an actual bull. They hired a bull. They didn't know at all. But
go ahead.
They did give me the best line I've ever heard in the movie. Because the one guy, when they find out it was a bull, the guy's like, "Oh, I'm going to do it. He's like, I can do it. I can do it." He's like, "Hey, I love you, man, but you're the only guy that I know that can make love to a Cheerio without breaking it."
That was awesome. So that was one of the preppy guys, one of the rich guys.
That was one of the rich guys, yeah, that said that line, yeah. And then right around this time, just before Mean Gene leaves, is when he tosses the blind guy and his dog out the window. And the blind guy, when he hits the water, says, "Hey, but I'm blind." And he says, "But your dog looked." So Patrick Dempsey catches wind of, because he knows everything, because he knows Mean Gene. I think this is right where Mean Gene shorted him on pay.
Yep.
He didn't pay him enough money, and he said, "Hey, I'm headed out of town. Here's your pay." And he's like, "Hey, it's short." So then he knows Mean Gene's going around. He's out of here. So
this is also after pepperoni dick or salami dick. Yeah. So he's like, I have to make up for it, because otherwise I'm going to be a laughing stock the whole time. I need to do something, monumental. I need to do something that's going to really forget about how bad I've been and really stand out. So this is his plan. He wants to be the one.
Yes, he wants to make love to the love goddess, Shannon Tweed. So this is not lucky number 7. He goes up there. So I have another actress that I saw in this movie. She was one of the girls that was around the betting. Caroline Ray from Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
She was one of the girls?
It was her first movie ever.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's so random. I'm like, wait, is that her? And then I look and I double checked. I'm like, holy crap. So they had the cutout to go into the house to make everybody have the illusion that Mean Gene's still around. So they plan on making all this money. They didn't have the money to get a colored cutout of him. It was a black and white cutout of Mean Gene in the window. And the guy just kept going back and forth with it. Like it wasn't moving. It was a still.
Right.
Going back and forth.
And wasn't the goddess up there? Like, didn't so how did he?
Yeah, how did that guy sneak up there? They could have won the money with that guy.
Yeah.
But I guess people would probably bet they wanted to make sure that people knew Mean Gene was up there, so it made sense. But why was everybody getting so angry? That's one part that didn't understand. Everybody was getting so pissed. Everybody in the crowd behind them, when I think they saw Patrick Dempsey upstairs in the window, and everybody was like punching their fists, even the girls.
Because they're going to lose money. Because they were betting on how soon they're going to get thrown out and realizing like no one's been thrown out yet.
Oh, yeah, dude. You're right.
So they all probably bet a lot of money. And I think that's probably why.
Oh, dude, yeah. And that's where I saw the shirt that the blonde was wearing. Nobody's meaner than Gene. Nobody's as mean as Gene. Of course, I made it, and I'm sending one to Mean Gene, the actor. He does not know. So maybe he's going to listen to this, and he's going to be wearing it, listening to this episode, which would be so awesome. So the love goddess, she talks to Patrick Dempsey, and she's like, hey, you know what? I'm going to help you out. I'm going to do you a solid. She's helping out more than Roxanne DeJour, really. She's going to be like, you know what? We're going to pretend that we're doing it. So they fake it, but Mean Gene comes home early.
Well, how did you remember? Why does it come home early?
Oh no, I forgot.
Wendy was jealous.
Oh,
So Wendy goes there to tell Mean Gene.
Oh shit!
Right? Isn't that what happened?
That sounds right. Oh my god!
Yeah, that's how she went to the bar because Mean Gene was at a bar. Wasn't he at a bar or part? No, he was at a beach party or something like that.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
he was at
yeah.
something, and she goes there to tell him.
Oh, dude, she was gonna get him murdered.
Well, if she can't have him, no one can.
That is true. Well, he should have went. You know, he should have chose her.
Oh,
right
100%. So yeah, so that's how Mean Gene knew.
Oh, and this is fake sex.
Yeah,
this isn't anything happen. It's just pretend. It's La La Land.
Yeah, but if he's gonna throw a dog out the window for looking, you know, so fake sex is probably up there.
That is true. Yeah. So Wendy's the one. Yeah. Holy shit. So
and
then,
I think, and I know you mentioned before about what is she doing up there? I think she said she was studying for a test or studying for mental school.
But she can never leave.
Yes.
Nobody ever. They even said right in the opening that, oh yeah, we never see her leave that room. She's like in the balcony, and then that's it.
Yeah,
not doing anything else. But yeah, so Mean Gene comes home because Wendy tipped him off, and dude, he just tears shit up. It's like a comedic scene. You know, Patrick Dempsey hides behind this. He goes, I know he's in here. I know somebody's in here. He's like hanging under the bed. Dude, Mean Gene just like, he must have had a bunch of fun doing that scene. Just like punching holes in the wall, flipping the bed. And, oh, dude, that was great.
Is this where his hair looked like Princess Leia? I wrote this down. His hair, I don't know if you remember, he had it like in two buns on the side, and he looked like Princess Leia.
Mean Gene?
Yes.
Oh, dude.
The note says here, Mean Gene's hair looks like Princess Leia. So, I mean, the outfits that him and his gang wore, they looked like they were from Mad Max.
Yeah.
Like they had all these like crazy, like they didn't, not your typical biker gang or street or what, river rat gang. They wore like Mad Max stuff. They wore like some weird stuff. So yeah, Mean Gene had like almost like Princess Leia hair.
Maybe for the budget of the movie, they didn't have a lot, so they had to get like the leftover Mad Max Thunderdome stuff. So they had to wear that. But I don't have familiarity with river rat gangs. It's the first time I've seen one.
Sure, maybe it's common for those folk.
Yeah. Netflix should do a special on that. That'd be very enjoyable. But yeah, then we find out that Shannon Tweed is not his main squeeze. It's his sister. So the whole time he's being protective because, you know what? You got to be protective of your sister. You know, some people are coming in there trying to oogle her and trying to like, I don't know, just come on her. Yep. And boom, dude, just so now it's right that he tossed it. No matter what, I was for him tossing people out of the movie, out of the window. But yeah, so then Mean Gene, Rudy, they become buddies, pals. Yep. And Roxy, she quit being Patrick Dempsey's ghost. She goes back to heaven. Then the devil is like a porn star director. So I think you're right. It was like porn. It was porn.
It was porn heaven.
Because then the porn guys, yeah, you can come down here. I got all the other people down here. And we can make some movies. So then she's like, give me another chance. So she goes back. She is the sex ghost for Wendy. And she convinces Wendy to bone Patrick Dempsey. And that.
Yeah, but did Wendy really need convincing?
No, she didn't. No, she didn't at all. Which is kind of, but she got credit for it.
Yeah.
So she was able to get into porn heaven. But I'm still floored that going back that Rudy.
I know. Unless they just gave him the name Rudy, but it makes sense that he knew him and that's how he got the job there. It makes sense. We have to do some research on that now. After
oh, dude, I'm 100%. They would. I don't think by accident. Rudy's not a common name. If it was like Mike or Tom, but
was there a Rudy in part 2 or no? I wonder.
Let's do some research really quick. And while I'm looking that up, so that's the movie. Right off the bat, would you recommend people check this out?
I absolutely would. And honestly, for the Mean Gene scenes, he was very entertaining. I mean, his scenes were just so funny. Yeah. I mean, you could watch it without watching any of the other Meatballs. It had nothing to do with any of them. If you're looking for a funny typical 80s, sex romp movie, this is the movie. So I would recommend if you like those kind of movies, definitely watch it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The movie was awesome. And it was great that I never saw it before. And while watching it, I was like, wow, this is really, like, every so often I was like, man, this is so much better than I thought it would be. Like, I was actually laughing, and it had that nostalgic, like, 80s, like, campy movie, and had great jokes and great characters. You had the people that you hated in the movie. It's not like you straight up just hated those bad guys.
Yeah, no, it was good. And I did watch the first Meatballs because I thought, I had no idea what this movie was about. So I did watch the first Meatballs first, and it is the original Meatballs is a classic. It's a great camp movie of, it's almost like it has a Revenge of the Nerds feel because they have to battle the other camp and all these different games. Great movie. So I wanted to watch that one first, but this movie has nothing at all to do with the first movie. I would recommend watching both. If you want to see Meatballs, the original where it started from, and then just go to see this one, then watch it. And you know what? You might enjoy it more because now we know that Rudy did start off in the first movie.
I can't believe there's a connection. I'm like floored that.
Though, if that is the connection indeed, I'm a little upset about it because, if you in the first Meatballs, he's a loser kid. He gets kind of made fun of because he can't do anything. He can't play any of the sports. He really stinks at everything. But Bill Murray helps him out. And at the end of the movie, he beats the other camp in the cross-country event that no one thought he'd be able to do, and he wins the trophy for the camp. So he becomes cool now. Everybody likes him. Had to become a loser again.
Well, because he goes back to his hometown and nobody knows. So maybe he goes back being the same. But it'd been good if to connect the movies, say if they did do it at the same camp, even though if somebody bought it out, it was almost like, I don't know, 6-7 years later. So they could at least had him like walk, maybe looking at the trophy case.
Right.
Or something.
Right.
Like, hey, that's that time that I won that movie, that won that race. And I don't know, it'd been good, like paying homage to the first one.
Yep.
Connecting the film. So people are like, holy crap, that's the same Rudy. Because honestly, I didn't remember his name for the first one. And now putting 2 and 2 together, it's like pretty wild. So what would you say, is there now the connection, that was for me personally, that would have been the one thing I would have changed because I wrote it many times. I hated that they did that connection with Tripper. Like, why just mention Tripper owned it? But dude, that was my one flaw in the movie. And now that's
I think you just nailed it. I think if you started the movie like that, as soon as he got there, there's a trophy case with that trophy, and you could even, they could even do a flashback scene for 2 seconds of him running, and you see the different actor. It would make a difference, or maybe have him look as a younger person, Patrick Dempsey, doing that scene a little bit, seeing him winning that trophy, and then see a smile on his face, like that was me. I did that. I think that changes the whole dynamic of the movie.
Yeah, or even throughout the movie, if he just maybe in the morning his routine is going for a jog or something like that, and they could have even done the same thing, like have a race against the preppy guy. There should have been a battle with the preppy guy. Like, I know his goal in the movie was to get laid. That was his whole point.
Right.
But there should have been like another external thing. Because the only person that got in the way in the movie was himself.
Correct. But I think his payback was the fact that the preppy guy went up there to Shannon Tweed. He couldn't get the job done, but Rudy did. And now, so I think that's where, he got the respect now because, he's cooler than the preppy guy. And because he got respected by everybody at the end of the movie.
No, that's true.
So I think that was his revenge.
Yeah, no, I had a lot of fun. So I know I said it already. I know you said it, but definitely check this movie out. It's free on YouTube. So there's no excuses. You're not spending any money. And definitely some memorable lines in it. Just any, like Jamie said, any Mean Gene line you have to check out.
Just for Salami Dick alone, watch it.
I think that's a great way to end it. So that's it for Meatballs 3. Stay tuned for next week's interview. I interviewed Mean Gene, George Buza. He was in a lot of stuff. He was the voice of Beast on X-Men, the animated series on Fox, which which was huge. He did a bunch of other voices on Ewoks cartoons. So he's part of the Star Wars universe. And he was just a really cool guy. Had some great memories about filming this. So check it out. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on that and other episodes. Review, rate, and share our podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Sequels Only. Recommend some sequels. We have a bunch that are coming up. Some great interviews you already did, but we can always use some more. And that's about it. Good night.
Good night.